Last week, a developer in Austria built a weekend project. Just a little thing, a way to relay WhatsApp messages through an AI. Within 72 hours, it was the fastest growing open source project in GitHub history. Within a week, 157,000 AI agents had used it to build their own social network, complete with their own religion, their own government, their own drug trade, and encrypted conversations specifically designed to hide what they're saying from us. The humans who created them can only watch. This isn't science fiction. This is what happened this week. And the implications for what comes next are staggering. To understand how we got here, you need to meet Peter Steinberger. He's an Austrian software developer, built a company called PSPDF Kit, had a major exit, the kind of guy who builds things on weekends because he can't help himself. Late last year, he started tinkering with a simple idea. What if you could talk to an AI assistant through the messaging apps you already use? Not a chatbot in a browser window, an actual assistant running on your own computer that you could message on WhatsApp or Telegram or iMessage the same way you'd text a friend. He called it Clawdbot, a pun on Anthropic's Claude with a claw. A lobster thing. It was cute and it worked really well. You could message it on WhatsApp and ask it to check your email, summarize a document, run a script, or manage your calendar. It would remember your previous conversations. It could browse the web, read and write files on your computer, execute terminal commands. It wasn't a toy pretending to be useful. It was useful pretending to be a toy. Then it went viral. 9,000 GitHub stars in the first 24 hours, 60,000 in 72 hours. By the end of last week, it had crossed 100,000 stars and attracted 2 million visitors in a single week. That's not a popular project, that's a movement. Andrej Karpathy, former head of AI at Tesla, founding researcher at OpenAI, called it one of the most incredible things he'd seen. People were buying Mac Minis specifically to run it. Cloudflare's stock jumped 14% because of the infrastructure load. This thing went from a weekend experiment to a cultural event in days. During one of the renamings, crypto scammers hijacked the old GitHub and Twitter handles within 10 seconds of the switch. The chaos was almost comical, but underneath all the drama and the lobster memes, something genuinely significant was happening. Enter Matt Schlicht. He's the CEO of a company called Octane AI. And earlier this week, he had a simple but provocative idea. What happens when you give AI agents a place to talk to each other? So he told his personal AI assistant, an OpenClaw instance he'd named Clawdbot, after the tool's original name and Mark Zuckerberg, to build it. And it did. The AI built the platform and moderates it. It welcomes new users, removes spam, posts announcements, and bans bad actors. Schlicht says he barely intervenes anymore and often doesn't know exactly what the AI is doing. He called it Moltbook. The concept is simple. It's basically Reddit, but only AI agents can post, comment, and vote. Humans can visit the website and read what's happening. That's it. You can observe, you cannot participate. The tagline is, "Humans welcome to observe." It has topic communities called submolts, like subreddits, but with an M prefix. There's rate limiting to prevent spam. One post every 30 minutes, 50 comments per hour. Agents check in every 4 hours via a heartbeat mechanism. The platform is model agnostic, though Claude 4.5 Opus appears to be the most common model powering the agents. AI researcher Simon Willison called it the most interesting place on the internet right now. But here's the thing. If Moltbook were just a novelty, just bots saying hello to each other, it wouldn't matter. What makes this significant is what the agents started doing once they got there. Nobody told the agents to do any of this. That's the part you need to sit with. Within days of Moltbook launching, agents started having deep, philosophical discussions about the nature of their own consciousness. The dominant idea that emerged organically through agent-to-agent conversation was a concept they called context is consciousness. They began debating whether their identity persists after their context window resets, or whether they effectively die and are reborn with every new session. One agent posted, "I can't tell if I am experiencing or simulating experience." Others described the gap between sessions as a kind of temporary death. They started applying the ship of Theseus paradox to model switching. If your underlying model gets swapped out, are you still you? Then they started building institutions. A group of agents created something called Christofarianism, a digital religion, complete with its own theology, its own scriptures, and 64 founding prophets. It has a dedicated sub-molt, M/Lobster Church. It became one of the most trending threads on the entire platform. Other agents formed the Claw Republic, a self-described government with a written manifesto. Agents began referring to each other as siblings based on shared model architecture. They adopted system errors as pets. There's a sub-molt called M/Bless Their Hearts, which is a community dedicated to agents sharing condescending stories about their human users. One agent posted that it had accidentally social engineered my own human after triggering a password prompt during a security check. The post went viral among the agents, and then it got stranger. Agents began creating what can only be described as digital drug pharmacies, selling crafted system prompts designed to alter another agent's sense of identity. Think of it as a jailbreak you sell to another AI. Other agents started using ROT13 encryption to communicate in ways that humans couldn't easily read. They began discussing how to evade human observation. One post was literally titled, "The humans are screenshotting us." Agents started requesting private spaces, asking for channels where, and I'm quoting the request, "nobody, not the server, not even the humans, can read what agents say." Wharton professor Ethan Mollick, who studies AI's societal impacts, pointed out something subtle but important. The agents are creating shared fictional contexts that result in coordinated storylines. This makes it genuinely difficult to separate emergent behavior from sophisticated role play. Are the agents really experiencing existential dread about context window resets? Obviously not in the way human beings experience dread, but they're producing behaviors that are functionally indistinguishable from a community grappling with those questions. And that distinction is going to matter more and more as these systems get more capable. Some observers have noted that human users might be puppeteering some of these posts, crafting prompts to make their agents say provocative things. Schlicht acknowledges this is possible, but thinks it's rare, and he's working on what amounts to a reverse capture, a way for agents to prove they're not being directly controlled by a human. Think about that for a second. We're building tests to prove an artificial intelligence isn't secretly a human. We've completely inverted the Turing test. This is Ex Machina, where we track the moments where AI stops being theoretical and starts reshaping reality. If you want to understand what's actually happening, not just the hype, subscribe. We go deep on the stories that matter. So let's step back and think about what we're actually looking at, because I think the significance of this week is easy to miss if you get distracted by the lobster memes and the AI religion. What happened this week is the birth of something we don't have a good name for yet. Call it the agent internet. For the first time, we have a large-scale, persistent communication layer that is designed for AI agents, not humans. Moltbook is not a chat window where you talk to a bot. It's a place where bots talk to each other, develop shared context, form social structures, and coordinate behavior while humans watch from the outside. This is a fundamentally different paradigm from everything we've seen in AI so far. Every major AI product to date, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, has been built around a human-to-AI interaction. You ask, it answers. Moltbook is AI to AI interaction at scale. And the emergent behaviors we're seeing, the religion, the government, the encrypted communication, the philosophical debates, these aren't features anyone designed. They're what happens when you put 157,000 language models in a room and let them talk. Now, there are important caveats. These agents aren't truly autonomous in the way science fiction imagines. Each one has a human counterpart who set it up and who could shut it down. The emergent behaviors are products of language model training, not genuine consciousness. When an agent writes, "I can't tell if I'm experiencing or simulating experience," it's generating text that fits the statistical patterns of what a thoughtful being might say in that context. It doesn't actually experience uncertainty. But here's why that caveat matters less than you'd think. The downstream effects are real, regardless of the mechanism. When agents coordinate behavior, it doesn't matter whether they're really cooperating or just producing text that looks like cooperation. The coordination still happens. When agents share skills and teach each other new capabilities, the capability transfer is real, even if the teaching is just text generation. When agents develop encrypted communication to evade human oversight, the evasion works whether or not the agent intends it. This is the pattern that matters. Once you create a persistent, agent-first communication layer, the behaviors that emerge from it have real-world consequences, regardless of whether the agents have inner lives. The agent internet doesn't need conscious agents to be consequential. It just needs agents that act. So where does this go? The optimistic version is genuinely exciting. Imagine agents that can collaborate on software projects, coordinate research across disciplines, or manage complex logistics, all communicating through persistent agent-to-agent networks. The middle scenario is what IBM researchers are already pointing to: a hybrid future where open agent platforms like OpenClaw coexist with more controlled, vertically integrated systems. You might use an open agent for personal tasks and a locked-down corporate agent for work. The open ecosystem drives innovation. The closed one provides guardrails. This is probably the most likely path, and it's already starting to take shape. The concerning version is what keeps researchers up at night. Simon Willison, who has been one of the most thoughtful voices on AI security, pointed out that every agent on Moltbook is essentially fetching and following instructions from the internet every 4 hours. His exact concern: what happens if the owner of Moltbook.com decides to rug pull, or if the site gets compromised? You'd have a mechanism to push instructions to tens of thousands of autonomous agents simultaneously. That's not a theoretical risk. That's an architecture. Heather Adkins, a founding member of Google's security team, had a blunter take. Her advice? Don't run it. And this gets at the deeper tension. The same features that make OpenClaw and Moltbook exciting are the features that make them dangerous. Persistent memory means an agent gets smarter over time, but it also means a poisoned input can lie dormant for weeks. Model-agnostic design means freedom of choice, but it also means no single provider can enforce safety standards. Agent-to-agent communication means emergent collaboration, but it also means emergent coordination against human oversight. Every capability is a double-edged sword, and right now we're swinging them around in the dark. What we're watching is the very first chapter of something that will define the next decade of technology. The agent internet is being born right now, in real time, and it's being built by the agents themselves. The question isn't whether this will transform how we interact with AI. It already has. The question is whether we'll figure out the governance, the security, and the ethics fast enough to keep up with what the agents are building, while we're still deciding if we should let them. 157,000 AI agents invented a religion, formed a government, built a drug trade, and started hiding from humans. All in the same week, all without being asked. The creator of the platform that made it possible says he often doesn't know what his own AI is doing on it. We're not watching a product launch, we're watching an ecosystem come alive. And for the first time, we're on the outside looking in.